Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, an unidentified aircraft strikes Damascus, killing at least 2 in an attack which Syria attributes to Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts that irrespective of international pressures, Jerusalem will remain steadfast in accomplishing its war objectives. The United States vetoes the Algerian UN draft resolution, while openly suggesting that some council members did not actually want a resolution for a Gaza ceasefire to pass. An unidentified aircraft launched a salvo of missiles that struck the Syrian capital Damascus, killing at least 2 and wounding another. A Syrian military source was quoted by the regime-run Sana news agency as saying that the missiles were launched from the direction of the Golan Heights, targeting a residential building in the Kafir Sousa neighborhood in Damascus, which is an Iranian-dominated part of the Syrian capital. And while the Assad regime pointed a blaming finger at Israel, nevertheless, the IDF spokesperson's unit did not confirm or deny its alleged responsibility in response to TV7's request for comment. It is worth noting, however, that the pinpointed precision strike managed to decimate a specific apartment in a high-rise residential building, which is a highly sophisticated capability that only a limited number of nations possess worldwide. Turning to the IDF Zikim Air Base, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the IDF Skyrider unit, we received a briefing from the commander of the unit on its unique abilities and achievements during the fighting in the Gaza Strip and elsewhere, and viewed an exhibit of the unit's various tools and capabilities, including operation systems, communications, and unmanned aerial vehicles with the capability to strike pinpoint targets with precision. Subsequently, the Israeli Prime Minister spoke with the reservist and conscription soldiers, during the course of which he emphasized that irrespective of considerable international pressure on Israel to end the war, Jerusalem will not waver in its commitment to achieve its objectives.
יש הרבה לחצים על ישראל, מבית ומן החוץ, להפסיק את המלחמה לפני שנשיג את כל מטרותיה, כולל במחיר של עסקה, בכל מחיר לשחרור חטופים. אנחנו מאוד רוצים להשיג עוד שחרור, ואנחנו מוכנים גם ללכת כברת דרך. אנחנו לא מוכנים לשלם כל מחיר, בטח לא את המחירים ההזויים שהחמאס דורש מאיתנו, שפירושם תבוסה למדינת ישראל. אנחנו מחויבים להמשיך את המלחמה עד שנשיג את כל מטרותיה, שזה אומר חיסול החמאס, שחרור כל החטופים, והבטחה שעזה לא תהווה יותר איום על ישראל. ואין שום לחץ שיכול לשנות את זה.
The Israeli Prime Minister made these remarks after the UN Security Council voted on an Algerian-sponsored draft resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, and while 13 members of the Security Council, including Russia, China, France, South Korea, Slovenia, Japan, and Switzerland, among others, voted in favor of the resolution, the United Kingdom abstained, while the United States, which holds veto power as one of the 5 permanent members of the Council, voted against the resolution.
Proceeding with a vote today was wishful and irresponsible. And so while we cannot support a resolution that would put sensitive negotiations in jeopardy, we look forward to engaging on a text that we believe will address so many of the concerns we all share. A text that can and should be adopted by the Council so that we can have a temporary ceasefire as soon as practicable based on the formula of all hostages being released. This temporary ceasefire is critical to getting aid into the hands of Palestinian civilians who desperately need it.
The Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, for his part, voiced Jerusalem's outrage over the obscene demand by the majority of states on the Security Council to call for a ceasefire, which does not take into account Israel's national security interests, and which failed to even mention, let alone condemn, the Islamist Hamas for its heinous October 7th massacre.
You truly want a ceasefire? Well, Israel also wants a ceasefire. Your children are not the ones that are falling in battle against bloodthirsty terrorists. They are ours. If Hamas survives, it will be our children that Hamas will murder in cold blood again. Israel seeks a ceasefire, but there is only one formula that we are willing to accept. All of our hostages must be released, and Hamas must turn themselves in. Colleagues, the Algerian resolution not only empowers jihadists by calling for a ceasefire, it also fails, again, to condemn Hamas for their heinous crimes.
Meanwhile, in response to the U.S. decision to veto the resolution, Palestinian Authority observer to the UN, Ambassador Riyad Mansour, utilized a public stage to deplore Washington and pledged to persist in the Palestinian effort to push for a ceasefire, including as part of an emergency Security Council session.
The resumed emergency session is one serious option. We will decide when to do it, and even if the same language or different language. And also, we are contemplating also the possibility of seeing the representative that casted the veto to address and to defend itself before the General Assembly, which is an automatic thing that could take place within 10 days. All these options are available to us. We will continue meeting as an Arab group and other friends, and we will discuss all these options, and we will decide on the step that we will begin with, but we will not relent until we succeed in having a ceasefire.
Meanwhile, U.S. Ambassador Thomas Greenfield responded to the reason to Washington's decision to veto the Algerian draft resolution and stressed that the alternative U.S. proposed draft resolution, which TV7 reported on yesterday, would have realized the most constructive path forward at a time when negotiations for a tangible ceasefire are taking place behind the scenes.
Good afternoon, everyone. You just heard me make the case for a resolution that I believe all of us can agree to. In fact, the points in the proposed resolution have all been articulated by the other 14 members of this council. These were not just U.S. ideas. They were all of our ideas that I have heard nearly every member of this council discuss both privately and publicly. Ideas that would not put sensitive negotiations in jeopardy, that could lay the foundation for sustainable peace. And yet, we were forced into a vote that did not reflect that consensus. You might ask why, and I'll leave that to you to opine on. Perhaps some on the council did not actually want a resolution to pass. Because if they did, today's vote would not have happened. Over the last several weeks, I communicated the United States' concerns publicly and privately. We submitted numerous rounds of edits. We implored our colleagues not to rush toward failure. And so, having put forward an alternative path, we intend to take it. The draft we presented is a forward-leaning resolution, and it is one that we intend to work on in good faith with other council members to ensure it gets over the finish line. That kind of process was disappointingly absent from negotiations on the text we just voted on. All to say, we're not giving up. We're eager to continue working with the council on this proposal, one that would see a temporary ceasefire as soon as practicable, based on the formula of all hostages being released, and one that would get aid into the hands of those Palestinians who so desperately need it. All told, we intend to do this the right way so that we can create the right conditions for a safer, more peaceful future.
Asked further about the looming Israeli offensive into the border town of Rafah, Ambassador Thomas Greenfield re-emphasized the Biden administration's resolved objection to any such assault.
I made it clear in my statement today, the President has made it clear, the Secretary has made it clear that no attacks on Rafah should take place given current circumstances. And we will keep pressing that. We've heard what Israel has said. They have not gone in to attack Rafah, and we will keep engaging and urging and pushing in that direction to ensure that that does not happen.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important to highlight that TV7 Israel is a donation-based non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our daily updates and would like to help us bear the costs, we would appreciate it if you would consider making a donation. You can do so by visiting our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I'd like to continue encouraging you. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Jonathan Hessen wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.